What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. I cover political news, and folks, Joe Biden has come out of his basement, and he is out making moves. Yeah, he's not doing too good, but he's making moves, folks, and he's touting Bidenomics all over the damn place. Check this out, y'all. Biden says Fed made declaration of progress with interest rate cut. Yeah, so if you didn't know, yeah, the Fed made a significant interest rate cut. Yeah, it's about freaking time. You know what? They have outright destroyed our economy. We've had, I don't know how many banks at this point go under. We've had several franchise chain stores closed down because, well, people ain't buying stuff. The federal government had to lie about the job numbers to artificially inflate the economy. And the stock market crashed because of it. It crashed a little bit. Not much. Rebounded slightly. But, yeah, the economy's not doing good, regardless of what everybody's out there telling you, right? Like, the people know. The people that work, that live paycheck to paycheck, realize what's going on in this country, realize that something is amiss. They may not be tuned into politics all that well, or know economics 101 very good, but they realize something when they go to the grocery store, and their grocery bill is 30%, 40% in some cases higher than it was just a couple of years ago. Something is amiss. Why does all this stuff cost so much more money? Yeah, somebody's mishandling our economic policy, and I wonder who that could be. Yes, that is the President of the United States. And this guy has no shame whatsoever about touting how good his economy is. With banks failing all over the place, stores going under, stores being abandoned outright. It's crazy. In California, they're spending millions of dollars on plexiglass and Lexan because of theft. It's getting insane, y'all. Yeah, people can't afford to buy things, so they resort to stealing things. That's where you have to draw a line, folks. These people, they are trying to make you believe that the economy is great. But people know. People realize things ain't going so well. Something is amiss. Yeah, they're not doing so good, y'all. Let's get into it, though. President Joe Biden said Thursday the Federal Reserve's decision to lower interest rates was an important signal that inflation has eased, as he poked at Donald Trump's economic policies as a failure in the past and sure to fail again if revived. Hang on, Joe Biden. Who the hell do you think you're lying to here? Because if I remember correctly, and I am remembering correctly, I'm sure you guys can back me up on this in the comment section, but the economy was the best it's ever been under Donald Trump. Yeah, you don't do that by accident. Yeah, and it didn't just start off that way, by the way. Right? A lot of people think, well, administrations bleed over into each other a little bit. Yeah, they sure do. But in 2019, right around the end of Donald Trump's presidency was when the economy was really good. So something he was doing was working. And then guess what? We have a global pandemic and they shut the economy down. Hey, hang on. But Donald Trump got it started back up again. Inflation after the pandemic was slowing down 1.4% when Donald Trump left office. And they want to act like, they want to pretend that all these supply chain issues happened after Trump left office. Huh? What do you mean, after Trump left? No, that happened during Trump's presidency. And he was able to get the economy started back up by spending trillions of dollars. But hey, that's what he did. Jump-started the economy. Now, we could argue, we could debate over whether he should have done that or not. Did he spend too much money? The debate could go on for a while over that. But regardless, he jump-started the economy and it was going again. It was getting back to where it was at. And then Joe Biden comes in. Joe Biden's in office for a little while. He starts changing a bunch of stuff. And lo and behold, inflation started slowly ticking up. And then it jumps up to 9%. Almost a year after Joe Biden took office. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's garbage policy and not Trump's fault. Trump was long out of office by the time all this crap happened. And he tries to blame this crap on Trump. I almost slipped up there, y'all. Lowering interest rates isn't a declaration of victory, Biden told the Economic Club of Washington, D.C. It's a declaration of progress to signal we've entered a new phase of our economy and recovery. Oh, so you're just now starting to realize that you've destroyed our economy and you need to do something to fix it. Oh, good job, Joe. Good job. The Democratic president emphasized that there was more work left to do, but he used his speech to burnish his economic legacy even as he criticized Trump, his Republican predecessor, who is running for another term. Trickle-down economics failed, Biden said. He's promising again trickle-down economics. It will fail again. Once again, Joe, who are you lying to here? Right? Like two things. One's Donald Trump's economy was the best economy we've ever had. So maybe trickle-down economics does work, Joe. And number two, yeah, trickle-down economics is always in play. Regardless of who's the president, regardless of who's at the Fed, regardless of how the economy's doing, regardless of anything, trickle-down economics is always a factor in the economy. That you cannot get away from that. If you want to argue it, we can argue it down in the comments section, but you can't get away from the fact that these companies, yeah, that's how things work. When they get taxed more, they're going to do everything they can to keep their profits the same. And that's going to have a trickle-down effect. If they get taxed less, hey, who cares? I'm making buttloads of money. Who cares? Yes, trickle-down economics is always a factor, regardless. It's not an economic policy. It's just one ingredient to the economy in general. It's always in play. Biden said Trump wants to extend tax cuts that disproportionately benefit the wealthy, costing an estimated $5 trillion, and implement tariffs that could raise prices by nearly $4,000 per family, something that Biden describes as a new sales tax. Yes, that's how he describes it, but guess what? Who cares if tax cuts disproportionately affect the wealthy, right? Like they get more of a benefit. Hang on. Wait, you just said disproportionately, so that means that even the people in the lower brackets are affected by these, right? So that means there's a benefit to these tax cuts, right? The rich people might benefit more, but that means everybody else benefits as well. That's what they're not telling you. That's what I love that. It's disproportionately affecting the poor people. Yeah, but it's affecting everybody, right? It's just disproportionate. So hang on. If we're paying less taxes, that means more money in our pocket, right? Who cares if a rich man has more money in his pocket too? Who gives a damn? I don't care about that. I don't care about that whatsoever. Let the rich people make more money. Hey, if it means I make more money, I'm happy, y'all. I could care less what somebody else does. That's a problem in this country. Too many people are too worried about what other people are doing. Worry about yourself, and that's it. And then this whole tariffs thing, oh, it's a sales tax. No. Okay. It kind of is, but guess what? It's a tax on whatever country is selling us that item. You know what? I love this. They always say, oh, the tariffs are going to cost the American people $4,000 a month. Yeah, hang on, though. But what you're not telling people is that, yeah, only if you buy those products that have the tariffs on them. Yeah, if you buy American-made products or products from a country that we don't tariff, Yeah, there's no price increase whatsoever. You don't have nothing to do with that sales tax. That's right. That's what they won't tell you. These people just manipulate the crap out of everybody constantly. It pisses me off. A spokesman for Trump's campaign did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but Trump has routinely hammered Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic candidate this year, over higher costs. Yeah, which is freaking hilarious, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the new Trump ads, right? It'll be Kamala Harris saying,
a loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
And then it'll come in and say,
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
It's one of the greatest things ever. Right? Like, I saw those the other day, and I was like, wow, that's great. He's taking Kamala Harris's own words and using it against her. That's genius, whoever made that, by the way. That's a great idea. But that's what they're doing. That is who is responsible for this. They are, well, not totally, but they are partly to blame for piss poor economic policy. You want to know why you're paying 30 to 40% more for stuff? Because inflation rose. We all know inflation at this point. That was a term that a lot of people didn't know before 2022. People didn't think about inflation. But now it's a household word that people use constantly. Oh, well, that's inflation, y'all. You want to know why that is? The Biden administration saw that there were supply chain issues coming. Yeah, we were having supply chain issues. And did absolutely nothing to solve that issue. They have a Secretary of Transportation who is technically supposed to be in charge of that. If they see any issues, they're supposed to step in and regulate this and do this and push for this and blah, blah, blah. You get it, right? Guess where that person was during this supply chain crisis that we were having? Yeah, they were on paternity leave. That's right. I said paternity leave. Pete Buttigieg adopted a child, which is admirable, by the way. That's one of the most admirable things you can do. To take a child that was abandoned and love that child and treat that child like it's your own. That's one of the most admirable things you can do. Regardless of the reason the child was adopted. Right? Because people have their reasons. Sometimes they're good reasons. Sometimes they're very good reasons. Right. But these people that adopt other people's kids, that's very admirable. So I don't dislike Pete Buttigieg. I think that's a very admirable thing to do. However, when you are the Secretary of Transportation and you have a supply chain crisis, maybe, just maybe, you could take a little bit of time and do your damn job. Maybe you should have thought about that before you took that position. How about that? Selfish people doing selfish things is not admirable, by the way. But that's a big component to the problem. Why inflation rose so high. They did nothing to stop it. They could have raised the interest rates to try to stop it from rising so high. They could have done several different things. We've covered all this, by the way. But they didn't do anything. They didn't do a damn thing. That's why I always say it's part of the reason the Biden administration is destroying this country. Gross incompetence. Gross incompetence. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else, he said during last week's debate. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. Biden dismissed Trump's claims that he supports workers, saying, "Give me a break." His administration created more manufacturing jobs and spurred more factory construction, and it reduced the trade deficit with China. Yeah, you don't want to know what? Most of that was started by Donald Trump. All those tariffs, reducing the trade deficit with China, yeah, that was Trump that started that. Joe Biden just saw that it worked, and he kept it in place. It's one of the few things that Joe Biden actually kept that Donald Trump did. Trump's economic record was undermined by the coronavirus outbreak, and Biden blamed him for botching the country's response. His failure in handling the pandemic led to hundreds of thousands of Americans dying, he said. Yeah, more people died under Joe Biden, by the way. And guess what? That was the tail end of the pandemic. More people died under Joe, but he's not going to tell you that. He's going to lie and manipulate you. That's what Joe Biden does. It's insane. Biden struggled to demonstrate economic progress because of inflation, which spread around the globe as the pandemic receded and supply chain problems multiplied. Once again, they saw this coming. They knew this was going to happen, and they did absolutely nothing to try to stop it. Some countries did. Some countries didn't see the high inflation like we did. That's right. Some countries saw this coming and acted. But the United States, in their infinite wisdom of the Biden administration, he expressed hope that the rate cut will make it more affordable for Americans to buy houses and cars. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think, after going through what we've gone through, people are exhausted. People can't afford groceries, for crying out loud. Yeah, much less buying cars or houses. I believe it's important for the country to recognize this progress, he said, because if we don't, the progress we made will remain locked in the fear of a negative mindset that dominated our economic outlook since the pandemic began. Oh, yeah, don't trust your lying eyes, folks. You're doing okay. These people are deplorable. He said business should see the immense opportunities in front of us right now by investing and expanding. Yeah, good luck with that. Biden defended the independence of the Federal Reserve, which could be threatened by Trump if he is elected to another term. Trump publicly pressured the central bank to lower rates during his presidency, a break with past customs. Yeah, I don't think that that's a problem. Why shouldn't the president, who is in charge of the federal government, have some sort of a say in this? Right? If he thinks it's a dumb idea, what's wrong with some input? The Fed is independent, by the way, and can do what they want to. Just because the president of the United States says, hey, look, maybe you should do some rate cuts. What is wrong with that? I think we should get rid of the Federal Reserve myself. There's plenty of reasons I'm not going to get into. There's plenty of reasons for that. They're stealing from the American people. That's one of them. It would do enormous damage to our economy if that independence is ever lost, Biden said. Yes, but he doesn't explain how. He doesn't explain why. How and why, Joe Biden? Why would it be extremely damaging? During his speech, Biden inaccurately said he had never met with Jerome Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve, while he's been president. Jared Bernstein, who chairs the White House Council of Economic Advisors, said at a subsequent briefing that Biden intended to say that he had never discussed interest rates with Powell. Yeah, are we supposed to trust Jared Bernstein, by the way? Are we supposed to trust what this guy say? This is part of the problem.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds. Right, since they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, Yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
This guy doesn't know his head from his rear end, for crying out loud. Did you hear that rambling nonsense just now? He has no idea why we print money. He is the chair of the economic advisors to the President of the United States. And he doesn't know why we print money. This guy is insane. These people are insane. This is why everything fell apart when Joe Biden came into office. This is why. He fills his ranks with incompetent people, and when they fail, they don't get fired. Nobody is ever fired from the Biden administration. They either quit or they retire. That's it. Nobody gets fired. Right? We botched the Afghanistan withdrawal. Nobody gets fired. Inflation rises to 9%. Nobody gets fired. We have a train derail. Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets reprimanded. It's just disaster after disaster after disaster with these people. We've got millions of people pouring into our country. Nobody gets fired. Nobody. As a matter of fact, Alejandro Mayorkas was impeached by the House. And guess what? The Senate, the Democratic-controlled Senate, subverting the Constitution and justice in this country, refuses to take up the case. Refuses to look at the impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas. Why? He was legitimately impeached for dereliction of his duty. For not abiding by federal law. By ignoring federal law. And allowing these people to pour into our country. He was impeached for that. And they want to get up and tell you, nobody's above the law when talking about Donald Trump. But hang on. Merrick Garland had contempt charges filed on him from the House. Contempt of Congress. And guess what? Merrick Garland said, well, I'm the top prosecutor. I'm not going to prosecute myself. I said they sent it to an independent. No, I'm sorry. No, they didn't. These people don't care about law and order in this country. And then they want to rail about Donald Trump because he wants to challenge the election legitimately. Yeah, these people are insane, y'all. We need to wake up and see what's going on in this country. And if we want more of what's been happening for the past 4 years, elect Kamala Harris. But if you want some change, you know what to do. Don't vote for Kamala Harris. That's all I'm going to say. If you want change, and she's promoting herself as the candidate for change. BS. Yeah, a change from the same old to the same old. That's what that change would be. Same administration, different face. That's all that is. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.